Hi, it's fatimahyman. I'm going to read to you chapter 1 from Love's Undying Wish. Hope you enjoy it. Why are you so negative, Charles? You never try to make the best of any situation. I'm tired of having to hear your negative opinion on everything that happens, even on things that are good, she yelled. Negative? My whole life is negative. Sometimes I think I'd be better off dead, he yelled back. Well, die then. You would like that, wouldn't you, Sharon? I knew your life would be better off without me. Why don't you go then? Why stay with somebody you obviously don't love and ain't even attracted to? He said, bringing up an old argument. Okay, as soon as I can, I will go, me and my children, she said, fighting to hold back the tears. They were mostly tears of anger, but they also held pain. You ain't taking my kids nowhere. Yes, I will. I ain't leaving them here with you. You can't take care of them. Shasta's too afraid of you to stay, and Danny's too young to know the real you. She only loves you because she doesn't know any better, she said, hoping to hit home. He didn't skip a beat. Over my dead body, you won't take my kids. I'll take us all out before I let that happen. She looked at him for a moment, stunned. No, you won't kill me. You can try, but I ain't gonna die. I trust that God will not allow you to take me out like that, she said. I bet you. Ain't nobody taking my kids, he said, leaving out of the bedroom. She had a brief moment of fear, but then she came to her senses. She knew what he said was an idle threat. She turned around and continued folding the clothes on the bed. She often wondered these days why she even got married. She wished that she could go back in time with the knowledge that she had now about this man and say no to his proposal. She felt that she had just wasted 4 good years of her life. She sometimes felt hatred for him, but she had to remember she wasn't supposed to hate. It was just so hard to love him. These types of fights have been popping up a lot lately. There seems to be always something brewing under the surface. She had tried to make the best of the situation because she didn't get married just to get divorced. When she married him, she thought it was going to be good. He was always so loving toward her, always hugging her or kissing her. Even now he would do those things, but when he did, she was always guarded. She knew that the loving wouldn't last, and they'd be back at it again, being mean to each other. She hated him the more. It was hard for her to let down her guard, because for so long she had been defending herself against him emotionally. She couldn't count the many times she just cried and cried uncontrollably, begging God to give her a way out of this mess. But God never gave her what she asked for. She knew deep down with Charles was where she was supposed to be, but all the layers above that one screamed that she had to leave. It was hard to hold on to that one layer when there were so many stacked up against it. She put up the last pieces of clothes and went to the laundry room to start another load. She went to check on Danny. She had gone down for a nap about 30 minutes earlier. In a couple of days, Danny would be turning 2. She had to get all the party plans together. She really didn't feel like a party, but she didn't want to deprive Danny of that. She peeked into Danny's room, which was 2 doors down from the master bedroom. Danny was still asleep. Danny usually got up to see Shasta off to school every morning. She always took a nap right after, but today, Danny decided not to take a nap in the morning, but in the afternoon. They lived in an affluent, peaceful neighborhood. Most of their neighbors were friendly, and the rest were stuck up. They would look right at you and not lift a hand for a wave, nor move their lips for a smile. She hated that. Their house was situated in the cul-de-sac. It was a two-story Victorian. All the bedrooms were upstairs, and the kitchen, dining, and living areas were downstairs. The master had his own bathroom, which included a garden tub, separate shower, double vanity, and separate toilet area. Sharon had painted the master bedroom a pale purple and had put some plants on the shelves built into the walls. There was also a sitting area which had a white plush sofa sitting across from a 52-inch flat-screen TV mounted to the wall. Between the bedroom and the bathroom were his and her closets in a small hallway. Once you left the master bedroom, you encountered 2 bedrooms on the right side, which were Danny and Shasta's rooms. Shasta's room had been painted a bright yellow, and Danny's was painted a pale green. They both had twin beds with character covers. Shasta had a desk in hers, and Danny had a child's table in hers. Across from them was another bedroom, which Charles had converted into his office, and a full bathroom with a double vanity, a tub and shower combo, and a toilet. Sharon went downstairs to start dinner. The stairs went straight down into the kitchen. Sharon had also added green to the top of the kitchen cabinets as she had done in their bedroom. sink built as a decoration and functionality. All of the appliances were stainless steel. The kitchen opened up into the family area, which was separated by two columns and a little step down. There was also a little breakfast nook between the kitchen and the family room. On the other side of the kitchen, there was a door that led to the former dining room, which had a little sitting area off to the side. Sharon was home most days. She only worked 3 times a week. She had gotten a job in a prestigious hospital doing physical therapy. For a long time, she hadn't worked, and that's where some of the problems had stemmed. Charles had told her that it was okay for her if she left her job, but not long after she quit, he began to make little comments pertaining to it, and that's when she began to lose her love for him. It wasn't as if they were struggling financially, but she guessed it was the fact that she was at home. She lost just a little bit of love at a time until as time passed, it was close to zero. But still, God had not made a way for her or released her to go. She decided to fry some chicken and stew some potatoes for dinner. She started to call Charles to see if he would be back for dinner, but then she decided against it. If he didn't come back, then there would just be extra food. She didn't care if he ate or not. Sharon put the chicken in a big bowl and seasoned and marinated. While it was marinated, she pulled the vacuum out of the hall closet. She went to the living room to vacuum. She picked up some toys that Danny had left lying out and put them in the toy chest in the corner. She plugged in the vacuum and began vacuuming. As she finished, she heard the garage door opening. She pushed the vacuum into the den and went into the kitchen. She heard Charles come in the side door and then walk into the kitchen. She pretended she didn't know he was there. He also did not say a word to her. He poured himself some juice and went upstairs to his office. She shook her head. She was tired of living this way. She wanted to leave, but she didn't think she had the means to go. She went into the den to finish vacuuming and then went upstairs to check on Danny. She was still asleep. She went to the laundry room, got the dry clothes from the dryer, and put the wash load in. She took the clothes and dumped them on the bed. When she walked back by Danny's room, she saw that Danny was stirring. "Hey, boo-boo, have a good nap?" she asked, her picking her up off the bed. She took Danny downstairs. "You want something to eat?" she asked, going to the refrigerator. Danny pointed to the juice. Sharon poured her some in her big girl cup. "Danny, do you want some corn?" Danny nodded her head yes and went off to look at cartoons. Sharon got the leftover corn out of the refrigerator and warmed it up. She put the corn on Danny's high chair tray. She picked Danny up and put her in the high chair. She coated the marinated chicken with flour and took out a frying pan and filled it halfway with cooking oil. She turned on the burner to heat the oil. She then went into the pantry, which was located next to the refrigerator, and got the bag of potatoes. She sat down at the kitchen island to peel and cut the potatoes. Sharon glanced at the TV occasionally. They were watching a cartoon about a little boy and sailor who lived in a whale. She loved that cartoon as much as the kids did. After a while, Charles came down the stairs. He went over to the high chair to play and talk to Danny. He still didn't acknowledge that she was there, and she just looked through him at the TV like he was transparent. He suddenly spoke up. "So you want a divorce?" "If that's what you want," she replied, not stopping what she was doing or taking her eyes off the TV. "No, no, don't give me that. If you ain't happy, then you need to do what make you happy," he said. "Do what makes you happy. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. Just make up your mind so we can move on," she said, putting water in the pot over the potatoes, and then setting it on the stove. She turned the burner on. "I'll never be happy," he said. "Well, then get the divorce papers. I'm sure that'll help you get happy, because we won't be here to be a burden on you anymore," she said, walking to the den. "So you do want a divorce? Well, you can get out right now. You don't have to stay here. Leave," he yelled at her. She stopped in her tracks, but she didn't turn around to look at him. The stairs were positioned right before the den. She turned toward the stairs. She held back the tears. She wasn't going to ask him if he meant it or not, because she knew that he did. She wasn't going to pretend like he didn't say it either. But what she was going to do was go upstairs, pack all that she could for she and the kids, and then leave. She knew she could go to one of her sister's house, but she felt embarrassed about it. How do you explain that your husband just kicked you out of the house and pretend like it didn't bother you? She got all she could pack and put it in her truck, including her laptop, Bible, and some toys for the kids. Her truck was packed up with as much as she could carry. She had traded in her BMW for a Chrysler Aspen after Danny was born. Her BMW was okay for one child, but it didn't have enough room for two. Shasta was walking up the driveway from the bus stop. She asked where they were going, but Sharon just told her to get in the truck. She didn't want to try to explain it to her. She went inside, cleaned Danny off, and took her out of the high chair. She didn't care about the pots on the stove or the chicken waiting to be cooked. She put her house key on the counter in the kitchen and went to the car. She put Danny into her car seat and got in. She sat there for a moment, trying to figure out what to do next. She didn't want to be a burden on anyone and was reluctant to ask one of her sisters if she could stay with them, even though she knew they would say yes. She decided to take the kids to the mall just to walk around for a while. She backed out of the garage, and just as the front end cleared the garage door, she heard it come down. She looked back and saw that Charles had come into the garage and closed it. She smiled to herself so as not to cry. She turned back around and finished backing out. She didn't look back. Charles kicked me out of the house, she told her youngest sister, Portia. She had been to her other sister, Rosa's house, and had told her what happened. Rosa told her that she could stay at their house, but Sharon didn't feel comfortable about it. She loved her brother-in-law, David, but she didn't think he would appreciate that. So she had decided she would ask Portia if they could stay with her. He did what? Portia asked incredulously. Yep, he kicked me out. I was wondering if I could stay with you until I could figure out what to do next. Wow, I don't believe it. Yeah, y'all can stay here as long as you need to, she said, taking Danny out of her arms. Thanks. Hopefully I can find some place to go soon. David said that he would help me if I needed anything. Of course, to me that means don't ask for help, she said with a laugh. Portia laughed too. Yeah, that's what it means, she replied. Sharon took the bags up to Portia's spare room. Portia didn't have any children, but she treated Sharon's kids like they were her own, and she really loved Danny. She spoiled her rotten. She put the bags in the closet and walked back downstairs. She pulled out her cell phone to see if she had any missed calls, but Charles hadn't called or sent her a text message. She snapped the phone closed and threw it back in her coat pocket. She decided she would just let him go. She didn't want to be moping around, pining over him. The only thing hurt was her pride, because he had kicked her out of the house. She didn't know how this would eventually affect them, and Danny's birthday was 2 days away, and she would be looking for him at her party. She had planned to have it at the house, but now she didn't know where to have it. Portia's townhouse wasn't big enough for it. It was a two-story townhouse with small rooms, and she didn't want to have it at Rosa's house either. She decided she'd call Charles and ask him if she could still have the party there. No one except those close to her needed to know that he kicked them out of the house. Portia, do you need help with dinner?